I can't believe I'm like an adult, right? So I battle with my adult pressures, but still wanting to have like that childlike spirit. Think to yourself like Racquelle, or I have to think to myself like Racquelle. You have an amazing career. You're making an impact every day. You have a daughter who's 8 who's doing phenomenal, and you wrote a book. You've purchased a piece of property off of a whim. Like, you've done certain things that you should be proud of, but scrolling through social media sometimes can really steal joy.
It's okay to be like, okay, you know what, that goal's not going to happen. Let me set a more realistic goal.
Picture this. It's 2 a.m. and you're scrolling through your social feeds, and it appears as if everybody has it together. People have their dream jobs, the perfect relationships, and they are just really on their grind. And you're sitting there thinking, why can't I get my stuff together? Like, what is it? Is there something wrong with me? Am I not enough? Those are some of the questions that we're actually going to be talking about today. I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago, we had a group of 4 dynamic women. You know that episode, Lessons Unheard? So we have 2 of them. We missed the other 2. But I'm sure this episode is going to be dynamic because they are ready to be vulnerable and to share some more insight that resonated with you before. We're just going to pack onto it. Sit tight, grab some coffee, whether you're commuting, whether you're at home, whether it's late at night. Grab coffee, grab some wine, grab some water, or you know what? Just grab some quiet time for yourself and sit back and let's dive in. Ready, ladies?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Racquelle Perry.
Yes.
Yes. And Brooke Anderson.
Hello.
And we're missing Denisha and Quincy. We really do miss y'all.
For sure.
Miss y'all. We're going to get us all back together.
Have to.
We have to. And yet I wanted to talk about the subject of emotional wealth. I thought it was really important because for your generation, I see a lot of people focusing on the grind. But first, I want to start with the definition because I think it's really important for our viewers and our listeners to understand that emotional wealth means having a lot of positive feelings and happiness in your life. It's about feeling joy, staying strong during tough times, and finding purpose in what you do. Now, unlike money or things, emotional wealth comes from taking care of yourself, building good relationships, setting boundaries, and valuing your mental health. It also means understanding your feelings, handling them well, and living in a way that matches what you care about. Now, here's the important part for me. Emotional wealth helps you grow as a person and feel happy for a long time. So it's not just what you see on the outside, it's also what you see on the inside. Okay? You ready to dive in?
Sure.
You know we never just slide into it. We just go right deep into it. So from that, have you ever experienced the pressure to constantly be on, right? Because I think I see your generation are doing this a lot, right? Constantly being on or keep hustling in your career or personal life. Like, you feel that?
100%. And I think for me, occasionally, sometimes I say like I'm still a little, I can't believe I'm like an adult, right? So I battle with my adult pressures, but still wanting to have like that childlike spirit.
Okay. For example.
For example.
You know, I always love those visuals.
So even with me being like an educator, right? And I still am the teacher who, we can crack us a joke or two.
Yeah.
Right. You can joke on me and I can joke on you. Sometimes they joke on each other and I still might chuckle. And it's just like, Racquelle, you are the adult in the classroom. Like, come on, you cannot be chuckling at these jokes. So that's where I mean, like, sometimes I had that battle back and forth. But in terms of the pressures, I guess, or what was the original question?
Yeah. So you're experiencing pressure constantly, like always the feeling of being on all the time.
So yeah, like I was saying, I am 31 and I feel like, you know, in 9 years, I'll be 40. For me at 31, I feel like sometimes, especially scrolling through social media, that I'm not where I should be. But then sometimes you have to think to yourself like Racquelle, or I have to think to myself like Racquelle, you have an amazing career. You're making an impact every day. You have a daughter who's 8 who's doing phenomenal, and you wrote a book. You've purchased a piece of property off of a whim. Like, you've done certain things that you should be proud of, but scrolling through social media sometimes can really steal joy. So when I'm looking through, the pressure to be like, oh, I haven't done what I'm supposed to do yet, sometimes pops into my mind. But it's like, Racquelle, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you've accomplished a lot.
Right.
Like, acknowledge that instead of trying to say, like, you have to do more. Like, appreciate what's here now.
Right. And I'm interested to hear your intake or your insight, Brooke. I mean, for your age, right? At the mere age of 19, I always have to say your age because I'm just thinking you're so phenomenal for your age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're trying to figure it out. Like, you're not your traditional 19-year-old. You're not going to college. You're not doing.
I know what I mean. That's a lot. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was going to talk about, like not going to college. Like, the pressure I feel is immense because everybody that I know did go. So all eyes are on me, I feel like even just from like my friends at school, like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, like, good for you. But like, what are you doing that you didn't go, like, you know, to college? And adults even, like, I feel like it is the non-traditional path. So you really have to, I feel like I really have to prove myself to people every single day. Whether that's like, I feel like if I take a day off, it's like, well, you're not going to college. Why do you need a day off? Like, you know what I mean? Even though I am working, I do have my own mental health that I need to take care of. Like, it is kind of hard to feel so pressured, but I do feel fortunate with my generation. I feel like my parents' generation, they were always taught, like, you do have to be on. If you are, like, struggling, no one can see it. Like, you're not allowed to have a day off. Like, you're not allowed to have a mental health day. What's a mental health day? I feel like with my school, with my generation, and even like in middle school and high school, like, there were days like they were like, if you want to take off, like, you can have a mental health day. So I feel like very fortunate that I grew up in this generation where mental health is very like seen.
It's seen. It's okay.
It's okay to not be okay sometimes. Whereas I feel like with the older generations, it was not okay. Like, if you were off, you were seen as weak, and now you're seen as strong for noticing and like wanting help. You know what I mean? But like with the older generations, I feel like if you wanted help, you were seen as weak. So I don't know that I struggle with that too much, other than just the pressures of not going to college. But I mean, yeah, I think that's.
Do you ever get tired of explaining yourselves? Like,
that's the biggest thing. Is just like, they're like, oh, why didn't you go? Oh, I wanted to figure things out. I didn't want to go to college because I didn't want to spend that hundreds of thousands of dollars when I don't know what I want to do yet. You know what I mean? Like, I have bounced around, like, worked in restaurants. I've tried real estate. I'm trying modeling. Like, I'm trying all these different careers because I'm not quite sure what I want to do. And going to college, you have to dial in on one thing. You have to dial in on one major. And to me, that's the most terrifying thing. And I was not ready for that. And I think it's a lot to put an 18-year-old or 17 or 19-year-old on making the rest of your life decision where you're literally a teenager.
Right. And then, Racquelle, I guess for you being on, your responsibilities are totally different. When you were her age, right? You had a child, right?
Well, I had Layla at 22.
Oh, you were 22. Okay, my bad. Yeah, so you were a little older.
But I was in college my last year of school, so the pressure of that was still a lot, you know what I mean? Because walking around the college campus, you're pregnant, and it's like, what? People have this made up idea of who you are. Like, I even remember my professor saying, well, you know, because it was getting close to the time where I was getting ready to have Layla. I think maybe January, I had a conversation with my professor, and he made the comment, well, you know, that's the type of things you have to think about when you get pregnant. And it's just like, sir, I'm not asking I'm just telling you that I know that there's a possibility I may go into labor in your classroom. Right. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time so that we can come up with a plan. Well, those are the things. It's like, whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
Relax. It's okay.
It isn't even
like it's okay. Relax. That's not, but even, you know, even that pressure in school was a little heavy for me at the time. But, you know, push through.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Not great.
Thanks, Ricky.
What strategies do you use? We were talking about a little bit to push back against the narrative that, productivity actually defines your worth, right? So you taking some time off, right? And trying to understand, okay, well, it's okay for me to take time off because of my mental health.
Yeah.
A lot of us, like you said, I'm your mom, right? I'm your mom, taking too much time off. It's like, okay, well, you're not being productive.
You're lazy.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're taking too long figuring things out. Let's do something. So how do you combat that, the two of you?
My stomach is growing, sorry. I am, how can I say this nice and sweet for
No, don't.
I'm very big on you can't walk in my shoes.
Okay.
So if I am telling you or if I am doing something, that's because one, I have already accounted for whatever consequences are going to come, going to happen, right? So in Brooke's instance where she says, if I have to take a mental health day, and that means I have to stay in my room or I have to stay home or I have to call off, whatever that looks like for me, I have to take the responsibility. If I miss something at work, oh well, like I am accepting the consequence when I make the decision to take whatever necessary time that I need for myself.
So how certain are you that everyone's thinking that way?
I'm not.
I'm looking at all the consequences of what could affect my decisions. Because I think that's, as a parent, that's what we think about. Okay, are you sitting down to think about all of the consequences that could affect your decision? And I can't speak for 100% of everyone in your generation that you actually do that. Like, Brooke, could you say that you sit down and think about all of the consequences before deciding on an action?
No.
And that's why we're concerned. And I'm so glad you were honest. Like, tell me some of the strategies that you use, right, to push back the narrative that, your productivity is, defines your worth.
So when I started out with real estate, productivity did define, like, when I started, I was like, wow, if I fail at this, I suck. You know what I mean? Like, but as time went on, I was like, who cares? Like, I tried. And so I just don't see it that way. I've never seen it that way. If I give something a try and it doesn't work out, it just didn't work out, and that wasn't my path. Like, that was just not the path that I was supposed to take, and I don't see it as a fail. I just see it as like a lesson more so. So that's kind of...
And that's good that you had that at 18. Because I think my mind,
19.
It's 19.
She hanging on to that. Why? That's at 19.
Yes, 19. Because I don't know if I got that until like 25 because I had that pressure of trying to please my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm very fortunate with the family that I have as well.
We spoke about that last time. Yeah, I had high pressure coming from my mother to be this specific person, including work and what you wanted to do, like post-graduation of college. But your mindset was more so like, if I try it, I do it, and it doesn't work out, so what? Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't get that until like 25.
But it's not to say that like I try everything and nothing works out, and I'm like, okay, well then I, just don't have a job. Like, it's not that. Like, I do put my everything into everything that I tried. Yeah. Just like, if I try, it doesn't work out, like, who cares? On to the next. Like, it does sting. Like, I mean, it's not to say that doesn't sting. It's not like, oh man, like I put so much time and effort into this. Like, I was upset. I was super upset, and I know that I could have done more, but just the fact that like putting myself before my work, like I think everyone needs to do that, and everyone needs to dig deep, because a lot of people, especially like I said, my parents' generation, like they never saw it that way, like because they just had so much pressure from everyone outside. You can't let that affect you, because that used to affect me. Like whenever I wasn't going to go to college, I was so affected by everyone, like, why not? Oh my gosh. I was like, why does everyone care about my life? It's mine. So that's what it is. It's your life, and no one else has any say, literally.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to shed light on that, because I want to applaud both of you, because I know people that are my age that still tie their productivity to their worth. Right? And so you're saying, yeah, well, my mom pushed me So it took me a while to figure out, okay, yeah, my productivity does not attach to my worth, or what I do is not tied to my worth, right? And I'm here to say that I do know, because I struggled with that for a long time, that if I wasn't successful in a thing, then I wasn't worthy, right? So, or that was my identity, right? So then I failed. So just know that you two are probably ahead of the game, and you need to probably give yourself some more grace too, because you're light years ahead of possibly a lot of other women. Yeah, especially as women, right?
Yeah.
So it's just hard, I think, not to do it. Hello, friends. I need to take this time to say thank you to our amazing sponsors, because without them, this content that we're sharing with you each week would not be possible. So thank you, Allstate Insurance, Fidelis Mortgage, and Toch Construction. Hey, and did you know that I run a real estate team, the Rawls team, where we help people buy and sell homes? So if you're looking to buy or sell, reach out to us. We're here to help. And until then, see ya. So I guess, like, how do you make sure that you get the rest so that you can actually collect your thoughts, right? And don't forget who you are, because I think that's huge. You know, this platform is all about self-worth, right? So, and I think it's really important that we let people know that, okay, it's okay to not know what you're going to do in your future, right? And I do know what I want to do, and yet I still struggle sometimes. I may want to pivot and change.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you get that, make sure you get that rest to recollect your thoughts? And
well, I think for me, I pay attention to how I feel, right? So very in tune with my body. So I feel when I'm overwhelmed. I feel like, actually about maybe like 2 weeks ago, I felt like heavy. And I was like, what is going on, Racquelle? So for me, I had to write down like certain things that were happening over the course of like the past 30 days, and I had to tap into like, okay, this happened, which could have made you feel this way. And the course of these events happened and happened and happened. It's like you didn't get a chance to regroup yourself from this last one. So, all right, I need some time to rest and group my thoughts. But like, I think to answer your question, the biggest thing is to pay attention to how you feel. A lot of us are on the go with that pressure of my productivity is attached to my worth and who I am. But if you take a moment to just sit down and be like, ooh, I don't feel myself right now. And then you pretty much would know when, for me at least, to take the rest. I got to be in tune with what's going on.
My rest is like what you said, whenever you feel pressure, I literally feel like someone is just pushing down on my shoulder. Like literally just heavy. So what I do is, well, number one, I also write. I love writing so much. Like generally. Yes. Like sitting outside and just writing. But sometimes if I need to talk to somebody, I have a therapist, and it's literally just an hour out of like your day, your week. It's no time at all. Just talking to somebody outside of your bubble is very important. And like it bothers me a lot, because I was always very anxious to be like, oh yeah, like I'm in therapy. Like I was embarrassed because like people think that that's such a weak thing, or at least I did, honestly. But
really, your generation?
Yeah.
I was thinking you all shed the light.
We have. And I was going to say earlier, like, I'm a millennial. So like, I feel like our generation started the ball moving on this mental health discussion. Because I started therapy in 2019. And the reason I started therapy in 2019 was because I just felt like, one, I wasn't at a place where I should be. My daughter was, 3. I was, single mom. Her father and I aren't in the best place, or have never been in the best place. I'm in school and I'm working, and I just did not feel like I was in a place where I should be. And then also childhood trauma that I never worked through. So 2019, when I started going to therapy, was when people just start talking about like mental health and going to see a therapist. But it was still one of those items where it's like a topic that you don't want to discuss. Because it's like people might look at you funny.
Still new. And
like
I didn't ever want to go because I always thought my issues aren't as big as some other people's. So going to therapy, like why? I need therapy when I have like this great, wonderful life. And some people have had way more hardships than me. Like, why do I need it? And like, you know, just as much as these people, which everybody has problems. Everybody handles problems differently. Some people's are greater than others, yes, but like your problems still matter. So I think that like that's my rest. Like therapy, just talking to somebody outside of my bubble, telling them, hey, like I'm having a bad day. This is happening in my life and I need help. Like I need you to tell me what to do, or I just need to literally just get something off of my chest. And especially having like an expert help you with that. Like even like, I mean, she just is like, just journal. I'm like, okay, you told me to journal. I'm going to journal and I'm going to feel good about it. You know what I mean? But like my mom will be like, journal. I'm like, no, that's dumb. I think to me, just having an expert telling me, you know, like, this is what you should do. This is going to help. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean? I think like just knowing that it's somebody who has
you receive it different.
You
receive it totally.
Because my mom will be like, I literally told you to do that. And I'm like, well, you don't have a degree.
And it's so true. It's so true. Because sometimes it just, you know, not only receive it, you just hear it and you're just willing to accept it as you know it's coming from a place where there's no unbiased opinion. Yeah. So you're like, okay, yeah. And your parents have your best interest at heart. Y'all do know that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, and yet you the hilarious and be all. Well, you know, we do try. We do try. We try. Yes, we do try. So I want to go back to some of our lessons unheard conversations. Like, what lesson do you wish you had embraced earlier that you would have improved your mental and emotional health? Okay. What lessons do you wish you would have embraced earlier, right? That would have improved your mental or emotional health.
It's okay to take your time and take a step back. It's because I was always go. In college, join this, do this, go to this organization's event and, you know, keeping this social calendar and do it. But it's okay to take time for yourself. Like I did not do that in high school. I was in these organizations playing all these sports. Anytime the school was doing something, whether it be a volunteer opportunity or I was signing up when I got to college, it was the same way. And it was boom, 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 boom. So definitely it's okay to take your time in life in general with anything. And it's also okay to take a step back and take a moment to like, all right, I need a break for like 2-3 months, or even when people take a semester off from college, like that stuff like that is looked down on. But
yep, I agree.
I feel like the person that's taken that semester off should be looked at more like a hero. Like they know that this is too much at this moment. Like I wish that I knew that, because I probably would have taken a semester off.
So why is this? Because you're bringing up a great point. So why is probably every generation, but why do we feel the need to have met milestones? You know what I mean? Like, okay, at 18, I'm going to graduate and go to college. You know, at 22, I'm going to graduate and then go to my dream job. And then I'm going to be promoted by the time I'm 30, get married in between there and have a child. And if I don't achieve those things by a certain age, oh my gosh. Like, why do we do that to ourselves?
I don't know. It's like a horrible roller coaster. I don't know why we do it. Sometimes I will say for some people, it could be tied to family structure. And it also could be tied to maybe childhood trauma. Like I know for me, with what I experienced in life, I felt like, I don't want to say like I wasn't good enough, but certain things that happened in my childhood, it was just, that's what you're good for type of situation. So it was like me proving to me and everybody else, like, no, I'm not that. And this is what I am. Mm-hmm. For some people, again, I don't know. But I think for some people, it could be tied to family structure. And some people could be like,
how about you?
To me, doing that whole planning out your life, it's fun to me. I don't see it as anything that's bad. I think everyone does that. Everyone plans their life because it's fun and you want to achieve these things. I think that when it gets haywire is when you don't achieve the goal that you planned. It's fine. Like, I never had these issues, I don't think. Like, I think it's okay. Like, I thought that I was going to be a millionaire by 20. Clearly not. That's not going to happen, and that's fine. It's not simply, but it's a fun goal. Like, it's a fun goal, but like, it's okay to be like, okay, you know what? That goal's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me set a more realistic goal.
Right.
Like, I think that's okay. And I never saw it as anything that's bad to plan out or anything. Like I said, I see it as bad whenever it affects you in a negative way.
Right.
If you don't achieve something, that's okay. Just set something more realistic. That's what I do.
Coming off the heels of reading this book, Fail Forward by John Maxwell, you made me think of, you only fail if you stop. Right. And it's not failure. They're more like lessons learned. Yeah. And as long as you don't continue to do the same thing over and over again, right, they define it as insanity, then, yeah, you are making improvements. So, okay, I was supposed to be here by the age of 20, a millionaire, but I didn't get there.
Right.
Why was that? And what can I do to course correct to make sure I get there within the next 5 years?
See how you can achieve that goal, but just push it back a little bit. It's okay to push it back.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's okay to take a step back.
It's okay to take a step back and then
reevaluate stuff.
Reevaluate stuff. So I think a lot of it has to do with social media. I want to go back to that because I think it's really important.
Yes.
Because I too find myself looking at people's lives like, oh man, I should be further than this. So it can be unhealthy. That comparison syndrome comes in, and it just can be so unhealthy for your well-being. So to unplug. One of the things I was going to recommend, how do you recharge yourself? Unplug from social media.
Yeah, for sure.
I completely agree. I was told once, comparison is the thief of joy, and I love that quote so much because it's so true. And I actually have deleted Instagram and TikTok off my phone. I haven't had TikTok for probably almost a year now.
That's why I haven't seen you.
Yeah. I think I just have Facebook now because that's, it's not my generation. So this, you're there. Yeah, and I got Instagram, I get once in a while just to see how, everyone's doing. But I just have to remind myself, you know what? Even I do the same thing. I post things on Instagram, but you post the best parts of your life. You don't post when you're crying, or you don't post when you break up with somebody, or you're in a fight with your mom. You only post, oh, hey, I'm in Italy. I'm living life. You know what I mean? You just have to realize, those are just the best parts of people's lives. It's that's not their everyday.
They're highlight reels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And don't get caught up with comparing, your insides with the outsides, right?
That's good.
So,
there's a lot. I don't remember who said it, but they said a lot of the times you watch people's end goal and you don't know the steps that it took them to get there.
That's really
a lot of the people in the clouds, right? But you don't see them when they're out of mud.
Correct.
I say that all the time. You always see people when they have made it.
Yeah.
Sit down and ask them. Sit down and ask them. So what did you go through to get there? And I bet you they have.
You'd be surprised by some people's stories.
Yeah. Crazy story. So, and I think you give yourself its unfair advantage by doing that.
It's rough. Social media is rough.
It's
rough.
And growing up with it, it's, I mean, every day, in high school, oh my gosh, this girl, she got this, new sweater, be off to get it. It's literally like Mean Girls. All have to get it. It's literally like Mean Girls to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's the most popular girl in school. We all have to follow that. You know what I mean? And that was so hard to deal with in high school. You just have to be the best, and it's all derived from social media.
You were the popular girl?
Well, I was
I'm feeling like both of y'all were popular girls. How about... Yeah, it was so hard. It was just so hard.
Erica, she's doing the thing. You're ridiculous.
I said no.
But I'm serious. You still compare yourself to everybody. You will always compare yourself to somebody, and that's what needs to stop. And that social media just gets you in that spiral. It literally forces you. But you see somebody, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to be that person. But just be yourself, you know what I mean? Because I was so wrapped up in social media my entire high school. I hardly, oh my gosh, it was every night, scroll, compare. And it's just, so damaging. to your mental health.
Yeah. So along those lines, share what are some boundaries that you set in your life that have actually helped protect you from feeling all those things.
Mine was deleting the social medias. Like I just had to erase it from my phone.
I mean, that is huge.
That's huge, yeah.
But I know some people can't do that because like I struggle with I feel like you can't because like you're a real estate agent. That's how you promote yourself.
Yeah.
Like you do it through social media. And so I don't really know what advice to say to you because the only thing that happened to me was deleting it off my phone. That was the only way that I could get away from it.
Wow. So how about you?
Ooh.
Yeah. It has made a big difference in your life. Because I know I see you on social media. Yeah. Matter of fact, because of you and one of our mutual people that we know.
Okay.
Yeah. Justin.
Okay.
That song by, what is it? I can't pronounce her name. Saweetie.
Sweetie. Yeah.
Is it the way? Because of y'all, I saw that reel. I was so excited. That is now my favorite song. That's like my anthem, y'all.
I think that one thing that I actually could say is it's okay to block people or unadd people. Let people not see your feed because that was, like people that I would compare myself to. I was like, well, they might I felt bad unfollowing them because, they like went to my school. They would see that I unfollowed, but they were bad for my mental health because they it wasn't their fault, but like I was comparing myself to them. And so I just had to unfollow them because that's what I needed to do for myself. So I think it's okay to unfollow people who aren't intentionally, but they are dragging you down.
I mean, those are some wise words. I mean, seriously. Okay, so if you don't have the capacity or you're not brave enough to just delete Instagram, TikTok, and all the social media, block people. Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah. Block them, unfollow them. I think that
very unhealthy.
I do not.
What's the problem? What part's the unhealthy? Blocking or deleting?
The fact that it's unhealthy for me. I have a hard time blocking people.
Oh, why?
Probably childhood. I need to talk to my therapist.
Any credentials?
I never did.
Always been very weird when it comes to blocking people. I think, again, it's tied to childhood trauma. I just don't want someone to need me in a moment and I'm not there to assist them. That's why I said it's very unhealthy for me. Because I want to make sure that I'm...
But the people that you want to add or block, would they really come to you first? Like, think about it like that. Like, if you want to add somebody, are they going to be like, oh, I want to reach out to her?
Dr. Anderson.
That's good.
Because would you reach out to them though?
That's good. That's good there, but that's good. I don't know. It's like that's what I said. It's unhealthy for me. I have always had a problem with blocking people, not even just on social media, but telephone numbers, text messages, all that. I've always had a problem with that.
So what boundaries have you set then?
I'll ignore you.
That's
a boundary, but I'll get you.
Do you not disturb on?
Now that I will do. Like, I will ignore a message, I'll ignore a phone call, but when it comes to block you so you cannot reach me at all, I have a problem with that.
So ignoring people, is that the biggest boundary you ever set that had a positive impact on you? See, she didn't know. So can I tell y'all behind the scenes true story? So Miss Racquelle won't come in here. I didn't even look at the questions because you know what? I just want to be able just to give it raw. And now she's like, ooh, now I'm on the therapy table and I'm not ready for this. I love this. We watching you. We are watching you and we here supporting you. We really are. But this is like, now, to get back to being serious, like, what is the biggest boundary that you set, like, in order to protect to protect yourself? And you're saying maybe it's like, okay, just ignoring people.
Yeah, I'll remove myself quick from a situation, or even if it's like just ignoring or not answering phone calls and text messages. Boundary wise, now that we're talking about that,
difference in your life, a boundary that you had to set that made a big difference in your life.
That's deep,
right?
I might need to work on that.
Yeah.
You know, my like that's just
I was always taught that you need to set your boundaries. That was like the biggest thing that I was always taught, and that's helped me so much. Like, so I don't really struggle with that. Just because that was like one of the things that was burnt into my brain, and it's helped me a lot.
Do you see yourself as a people pleaser?
I used to. I think I used to be a people pleaser. Like I would do things that I didn't want to do, or just, average people pleasing things. But now I'm just like, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like working. I mean, I don't want to work, but I have to work, like that, and not like that type of thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't think I consider myself a people pleaser, but I do struggle with that boundary creation situation. I guess
boundaries are way like overlooked. I think that they need to be talked about more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to dig into that. Like, and I wasn't expecting us to go here, right? But just, about having trouble setting a boundary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can't come into my circle and treat me any kind of way. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. But they clarify that for the people. Yeah.
no, there's certain things I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna tolerate, disrespect. I'm not gonna tolerate if I tell you something, or if I tell you like I don't like something, or can you please stop, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna allow you to continue to do the same thing. Maybe that's me creating those boundaries.
That's a boundary,
but I feel like boundaries are more like, and maybe I don't have that, but I do know.
You see them as being final? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I to the audience, like, okay, so how many of you struggle with setting boundaries? Because one thing we always do with our episodes, we always come back with a professional in the field of, mental health, right? Whether it's a life coach, or whatever makes sense for the episode. So I would like to know, so we can ask the question when they come on, do you struggle with setting boundaries? Are you like Racquelle, right? That says, hey, you know what? I don't know. I struggle with it only because like, I don't want to feel as though I'm not available for someone that may need my help. So she's always thinking about other people as opposed to, okay, so how is it affecting me? And that's okay, right? Because we probably need more people like that. As opposed to, Brooke, she's like, no, I'm taking everything off. Y'all figure it out on your own. I got to protect my peace. Yeah. And I love that because that's what makes the world go round. That's what makes it. So I don't think
either way it is.
Neither one is bad. Yeah. There's no judgment.
But I think it's like, if it's really affecting you, like you can't, you're thinking about it every day, like then it needs to be like talked about and set into stone. But if it's really not affecting you and you like the way things are going, then you don't have to set all these boundaries. It's okay to not set boundaries. It's also okay to set boundaries. So
yeah, maybe I look at boundaries as like final.
Yeah, but
still, there's things that I don't tolerate, and maybe I should look at those things as boundaries versus just things that I won't tolerate. Because in a way, they are boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, not getting on it all over is a boundary. If you say, I don't want you to do this, and then they do it and you say no, then that's a boundary. Like you're telling somebody that you don't want them to do something, and you're not letting them do something. That's
true. Those are boundaries. True. Very true.
Look at that.
Those are I do set boundaries.
She does set boundaries.
I'm just looking at them.
Yeah. Are you an all or nothing person?
I'm very black or white.
Okay.
I'm extreme.
Black or white.
If like someone does one thing to me, I'm like, like I'm like, I cut you off. Sometimes I cut people off a little too quick. Like I will say that. I'm a little too quick.
Spirit animal.
I regret.
Oh wait, maybe I didn't mean to cut you off that quick.
Do it like
fast. That is too funny. And meanwhile, Racquelle's like, well, you know what? Maybe, just maybe. I want to block you for a second.
Yeah. I think a medium between us two would be like perfect.
Yeah.
And I love this people too many chances, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's enough.
I don't.
Yeah.
So we talked about therapy and using our therapist, right? And then making sure that enable us to be vulnerable. So do you see that as being something that is actually working for you?
Yes.
I always say when I talk to people or if I'm in the midst of a heated conversation, look, I went through therapy and I know that at this moment, this conversation or what is happening is no longer going to serve me. Let me exit stage left.
Yeah.
And also with therapy prior to 2019, I don't want to say like I was an angry person, but because I didn't work through childhood trauma, I was quick to react.
Okay.
Now, no. Yeah, I'm going to get upset, but now I can compartmentalize my emotions a little bit better.
I love that.
Because before 2019, yeah, no. I would snap off and that was it for me.
So there's growth.
But now,
That's great.
yeah, now I'm good now.
Right.
In terms of how I process my emotions and acknowledging, and that goes to, again, with me saying earlier, like I know how I feel and I'm in tune with my body. Like I know when I feel a certain amount of pressure, I know where I feel overwhelmed. I know when I'm like overly sad or overly mad, and I pay attention to that and I do what is necessary. And that came from therapy. Those tools came from therapy. Yeah.
And that's with me, like getting out of my comfort zone, being able to have conversations with people. I was like, I wouldn't say that I was shy. I was never shy, but I was always so incredibly anxious. Like I'm a very anxious person. Like I twiddle, I do this. I always move my hands when I talk. That's just me. But I think that she's really helped me work through anxieties that I have. Like I used to be scared of the dark. I just didn't want to go, like, I didn't want to do anything. Like I was always very scared to like have conversations with people and meet new people. I would never go up to a stranger and be like, I like your outfit. And now like it's little things like that I could do now. Like if I see a pretty person on the street, I'm like, you look so good today. Like even just little things I couldn't do because I was just so anxious. I'd be like, oh my gosh. Well, like, but if you compliment somebody, no one's ever going to be mean to you. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, you just made my day. Like you don't think about that when you're anxious. You're just like, oh God, they could be a horrible person. Like that's always what I thought.
Therapy definitely gives you a confidence.
Yes.
So like,
yes. I've gained so much more confidence and much less anxieties about things that never needed to have an anxiety over at all. So that was my biggest thing, was like I got out of a shell.
Yeah, I love it.
I recommend therapy to everybody.
Me too.
Like,
I think everyone should do it, even if you think that you don't have any problems. So like, yeah, because that's how I was. I was like, I don't have any problems. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone's sad sometimes. Everyone's, because it's true. But they help you gain confidence, and you'll still have anxieties about stuff. It's not to say that if you go to therapy, it's gonna be solved. Everything's solved and you're cured. Like, no, but they help you work through it, and they help you get the tools that you need.
Yes. To help you get to that emotional well that I think is very important for people. Like I really do. So, because again, going back to the comparison syndrome, it's so easy to fall into that. And one thing that has helped, I've seen just for me personally, is finding out what your true purpose is. And just block out the noise from the outside. And once you start working in your true purpose, you start getting goosebumps. Like you really start getting goosebumps. And then everything around you just does not matter. And then by the time you realize it, right, you decide to take a look back at what you've done. Like, wow, look how many people I positively impact.
Yeah.
Just because I decided to block out the noise and just focus on my purpose. So I applaud the two of you for being here, to be brave.
I would have literally never, like, I think I said this last time, I would have never done something like this.
Yeah, to be brave and just to talk to our audience. I want to have you all back when we had the four of us together again, because I think it's important to continue to have the conversation. And I like the fact that the two of you are vulnerable. All four of you are ambitious, resilient people. And I was drawn to you for different reasons. And when you all come together, it's a powerful thing.
Vulnerability is important in every setting, because you never know who your story can touch, how you can help somebody through something, give people clarity on how you know what I mean, how you respond to certain things. That's why I said therapy.
Yeah.
I was vulnerable with my therapist day one. I sat on her couch and boo-hoo cried. First day one, sat down, boo-hoo, cried, like, oh, finally, okay, now let me tell you my life story so that you can help me through this.
So funny. I love that. I love that for you all. So then if there is one piece of advice you could give to our listeners about prioritizing your emotional wealth, I think you did it. Like, what would it be?
Therapy.
They said therapy.
I don't know.
They said find yourself.
And make
How
sure.
do you find yourself a good therapist? That's so many.
My mom's therapist.
So it was a recommended her. Okay, so you got yours through your mom. How do you?
So I
Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're fine. Insurance. I went through my insurance and got a list of therapists that they covered. But then I was also one of the people who I wanted a Black female therapist.
Okay.
Who also had Christian values because I knew the conversations we were going to have and I knew where we were going to dive deep, and I still wanted us to be able to be transparent about my experiences, and I wanted her to be able to understand my experience. You know what I mean? It's just certain things.
Yeah.
If we're going to be honest and vulnerable and transparent here, that as a Black woman that I deal with on a daily basis, that I just wanted to make sure that the person who's going to provide me the tool to work through would understand my experience a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's therapy expensive. And there may be someone out there that doesn't.
Mine's not. I paid like $50.
Yeah.
Session. And I think it is covered by insurance.
It is. You can get it covered by insurance.
Yeah. So y'all, and I do know that there's some people that give.
And you don't have to go every day. Like,
you don't have to.
No. So I think people also think, oh, you have to go like all the time. You don't. I go when I feel like it. Like, I just text them like, hi, are you available like next week? I just go maybe like twice a month. And I started going once a week, and then she's like, okay, I think you're doing a lot better. I think that you should just come every 2 weeks now. And then I'm hoping to go like just once a month, and then maybe I'll be like good without it.
You know, when I started, I was in therapy twice a week because, like I said, there was so much that I needed to unpack.
Yeah.
And then we transitioned from 2 days a week to 1 day a week, and then she was like, okay, we can do once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where you are in your journey, how vulnerable and open you're going to be with your therapist, because you have to go into the situation being open. Like, you can't go into, and I get it,
what's the point? If you're not going to be your true self with your therapist,
it has to go in that way.
You're wasting money.
Yeah. No.
You're wasting money. This is really good. We're going to continue the conversation. And y'all, if you haven't noticed, whether you're listening or if you're watching, we have a community that is growing, and we are really excited about the conversations that we're having specifically on our YouTube channel. People, we are responding to the comments or the questions that you have. And then based on how well it resonates, we do have people that come back, just like we did with Brooke and Racquelle today, like we've done in the past. This is all about you. So we would love to know what other topics that you would like to discuss. And oh, by the way, don't look at other people's outsides and compare your insides. That's not healthy at all. So one of the biggest strategies I've heard today is, if you do struggle with that, whether it's setting boundaries or comparison syndrome or just coming up with some ways to just have an emotionally wealthy life, get a therapist and join groups like this that are going to support each other. And until next time, y'all, keep it real.